Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to calibrate a refractometer on the recirculating ethylene glycol for a second effect. So the electronics are right here. It's showing right now 55.2% signal. The actual sensing element is sitting up here on a recirculation line. And what we've got to do with this line is we have to drain it first. Okay, now we've got the unit off on a bench, turn it upside down. First thing we got to do is remove the jet wash nozzle. So I'm going to take off here. Wipe it down. You can actually see the hole right there where the jet wash would be coming in through this pipe. We don't use the jet wash because we're not dealing with black liquor. The ethylene glycol doesn't really leave a film on the prism itself. And down in the very bottom down here where my fingers are pointing is the actual prism itself. Okay? So, first thing we need to do is go to the electronics and get ourselves ready to go into a calibration mode. So right now it's on the home display, and where we want to go is to sensor 1. And in sensor 1, we should probably look at the process parameters first to see what it is. You can see where our minimums and maximums are. The range itself is set to 40 and 60. The sensor minimum is 39.5. Sensor maximum is 35.9. Not sure about that. Set point high is running at 60 and 39, so that's a little bit over range. The sensor itself, it shows what readings it's going to be at. This is the actual microamps coming back, so 39.5 microamps is a value of 40%, 38.1 is a value of 50%, and 35.9 is a value of 60%. So we're going to go back, get out of this display, and what we want to do is to go into calibration. Where's calibration? Under maintenance. So maintenance for calibration. And what we should probably do is clear all of the points so that we don't end up with any left in there. We've run into problems. Factory set came with 5 points. We're only going to calibrate 3, and we ended up with some in-between bogus values. So you're better off to clear them off. So we're going to hit that one to clear, I think. And it says you really want to do it. It's kind of like formatting your hard drive. Yes. And so all the points are cleared. I'm going to go back. And click here to calibrate with sample fluids, which is what we're going to do. So okay, so it says apply a known sample, then click take sample above. So the samples that we're going to do, we've got 3 of them here. 40% ethylene glycol, 50% ethylene glycol, and 60% ethylene glycol. We're going to take and start with a 40. Make sure that there's nothing in the eyedropper. going to take a sample. I'm going to put it on the window. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually wipe the window off with that sample so that it makes sure that there's no residual from whatever was in there before left on the prism itself. I've done a good wipe job on that. Take another sample, put it on. You've got to fill this whole space up so that you don't end up losing signal that might be refracted away. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover that up with a black body, just a cap off of a spray can of paint, but that keeps any external light from coming in and disturbing it. All right, so now I have applied the known sample, and then it says click take sample above. So I'm going to do that, I think. And now it's waiting as it goes out and gathers the data for this calibration point. Hurry up and wait. Okay, so now it wants me to enter the sample value. That was 40%. So I'm going to do, I deleted the 0 that was on there. I put in a 4. The gloves are not helping me one bit. So now we're going to delete. And we're going to put in 4, 0. And then you don't have to, you don't have to put in the decimal point. Information is okay, continue. And when we're done, so that's the microamps that are coming from the sensor, and you can see that it now knows that that's 40% glycol. So it's done to click here. And back to calibrate with samples. Now we're going to take this sample off. And I'm going to get rid of this other glove. And make sure that I've got my eyedropper pretty well dried out so that I'm getting just the 50% sample. So that's the 50% ethylene glycol. A little bit on there to make sure that we wash the prism of the 40%. Rub that on. Dry that all out of there. Make it good and dry. And now we're going to apply our 50% ethylene glycol. A little bit more because we've got to fill the void right up. And the cover. So again, following the intuitive instructions, apply the known sample, then click take sample. We've done that. And we got to wait. And wait, and wait. Add a little bit of glycol on the glass. Okay, so this is 50. So again, I'm going to hit the delete button, I think, to delete it. 5, 0, submit. And so it's now telling us that 38.14 microamps was equal to a 50% ethylene glycol. We're happy with that number, and we've got it. Okay, so we've done the third calibration. We entered the value that dropped down to 35 microamps. Now what we're going to do is we need to finalize the calibration. It says you've got to have at least 2 points. We've done 3. So we're going to go Finalize Calibration, and we're going to save this as a new file. And
what's today's date?
Today is the 20th of March, so we'll go
March 20th, Cal.
Mar
MAR
20. Cal, no spaces, and we'll submit. Okay, turn your, so now it's telling us basically to put it back. So before we do that, let's go back and take a look at the process parameters. And in process parameters, we can see now that our 40% ethylene glycol was 39.6 microamps, our 50% ethylene glycol was 38.1 microamps, and our 60% ethylene glycol was 36 microamps, which is the way we expect the numbers to be running. Next thing we have to do is to take the head, reinstall it back into the process, so that's just reversing what we did. Then we'll start the plant up, get it running, then we'll take a grab sample, and then what we're going to do is to do something called a zero offset, which is right there. And so we'll touch that button, and then we'll enter in the value of the sample that we took. So we'll have to measure it with a hydrometer and thermometer and a graph to determine exactly what the percent ethylene glycol is. Okay? So the glycol from the second effect evaporator is circulating around through this line and back up to the solid film heat exchanger. There is our refractometer. So it's on that recirculation line. So we're going to take a sample, second effect sample, from this point. And this one doesn't matter how fast you take it, because it's just off that recirculating glycol. You have to open the valve quite a bit because this vessel is running under vacuum. You can see it's quite a bit thicker and browner. And this should be up at, ideally, 50% ethylene glycol. Or, yeah, 50% ethylene glycol. Okay, we're going to measure our sample that we've taken from the second effect evaporator. Currently, the temperature is sitting at 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The temperature will be dropping because this is going to be cooling down. The hydrometer is sitting at 1.36. Wow, 1.355. Okay, so then on this graph, 1.3 is there, okay, and 1.04 is there, 1.03 is here. So we said it was 1.035, I think, 1.035, and it's 036 now. And it's at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about in here in temperature-wise. And the SG is going to be 2.5 is going to be right about there, and we're at 140, which is there, which is telling me that the ethylene glycol is running at 47%. Follow the line down, and it'll land you right there, which is, I think, yeah, that one there is 47% ethylene glycol. So now we need to go back to the refractometer electronics and change the offset to get ourselves to 47%. The refractometer electronics page is right now reading 49.8. We just said it is 47. So we're going to go into sensor. Okay. And in sensor we got something called set zero offset. So we're going to select set zero offset, and it wants us to offset it to what number. And currently I'm going to try and get rid of that. And I want to go to 46%. So 4, whoops, try again, 4, 6, we got 46, submit. And so it's offset to 46. To go back to our home page, we should now be reading 46%. So it corrected from 49.9 to 46.1. Thank you.